All right, up next is the first president of the comedy club. This is his last show and his last ever time doing stand-up, so everyone give a round of applause for Kirolos, Sadallah.
I always stand up and sit down. What Nika forgot to mention is that I'm also going to set myself ablaze at the end. So I fell on my face yesterday. It was pretty bad, directly, face, full contact with the concrete. I'm not too familiar with slang, but I think the kids would say either I busted ass or I ate ass. I'm not sure. I think guacamole should be considered a social privilege. So if anybody in the audience wants to throw panties at me, please don't. Instead, throw something more useful like socks or business casual polos. I stopped wearing panties like 6 months ago. I feel like if the owner of Wawa said something racist, I'd be really conflicted. And on that note, I feel like if he gave away free Sizzlies the day after, he could have me saying you know what, he has a point about those Ugandans. I've never been to Hooters, but I don't think I'd like it. From my experience, I find it pretty difficult to eat wings with an erection. While we're on the topic of meat, does sucking dick make you gay?
Yeah.
Okay. Does interning at a law firm make you a lawyer? Something to think about. I haven't had the best luck on Tinder. I always run into girls that have bios like, don't swipe right unless you have a house, car, and job. Damn, you want to see my resume and investment portfolio too? So now I've raised my own standards, and I'm trying to get laid off of LinkedIn. Sometimes I think about stuff we used to do as a kid, and I just know that kind of thing wouldn't fly now. Take staring contests, for instance, right? As an adult, I could never handle that level of intimacy. Last week, my friend asked me, "Are you happy?" That should be illegal. Whenever I see an attractive person working at a fast food restaurant, I have to ask myself, where did they go wrong in life? I thought that one was funny. Okay, so the following is a rant. Fish don't have souls. I'll go to a zoo, and I'll look at the monkeys, and I'll be like, oh, look at the sad monkeys. I'll go to the lion exhibit, and I'll look at the lions, and I'll be like, oh, look at the sad lions. Then I'll go to an aquarium, and I'll look around, and I'll be like, yep. You're kind of probably on the edge of your seat right now. You're probably saying something like, I had a goldfish when I was a kid. His name was Freddy, and he had a soul. No. Freddy was a vegetable. That's why, if you think about it, owning a fish tank is more like gardening than it is caring for a pet. Something to think about. Thank you. People swallow goldfish for recreation. What if they did that with any other animal? All right, Todd, you made it this far. The last thing you need to do to get into Tri Kappa is swallow this canary. It's different. When I was a kid, my mom used to take me to the fish store, and every week, we ate a lot of fish as a kid for whatever reason. And my mom would point at the tank, and she would tell the fish guy, I want that fish. And the fish guy would plunge his hand into the tank and rip the fish out. And it's like flopping, and its gills are stinging from the air. And he would slam it down, and he would take this 8-foot board, and he would beat the fish to death. I saw this every week. And I would just look at him doing this and be like, yep. As an adult, I look back on this memory and I wonder, like, was my mom taking me to the most sexually frustrated fishmonger? But no, I talk to people and they say this is like a socially acceptable way of killing fish. Which I find it kind of surprising. Like, imagine if every time you went to Burger King or whatever, 3 chefs would have to beat the cow to death with their fists in the back. Was nobody like, I don't know, are boards really the most efficient way of killing a fish every time? You'd think PETA would be like an animal rights activist or something, but PETA's like, no, we only care about the furry animals. I feel like if I was underwater, I could punch a large fish, like a large tuna or something, with no hesitation. Like, I would just get it in the side and it would just like flop around and swim away and it'd be over. But if I were to try to punch a dolphin, I would wind up for the swing and I'd release, and then as my fist is about to make contact with this dolphin body, he'd be like, eh! And I would look into his eyes and I would see his whole life. Like, in that moment, I would know. He'd be like, yo man, listen, I just got a night job stocking at the Walmart. And I just met this girl, and she's really cool, and she's got a kid, but it's not even like that. And actually, honestly, for the first time in my life, I can say that I'm happy. And I would just look at the dolphin and be like, word. All right, thanks everybody.